Hi.
Coast to Coast is back. I'm sorry.
Sorry about your luck. We're in a mood today.
We are in a mood.
You know,
I'm in a mood
when you
today.
you
I'm tired.
apologize to open a show and you apologize, then if they stay watching, it's their fault.
This is true. This is true. And I do like to apologize for things in advance. That way later on I could just say I told you so. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share.
That'd be nice.
Click the link tree down below. Use the old googly form, get entered into our Let's Get Vocal little shindig we got going on. Head on over to the Shopify store, buy some. I'm tired of going to work. I'm real tired.
Things hurt. I just don't want to do it no more.
If
Yeah,
everyone could buy that follows us buy the Beans, Bulls, and Band-Aids t-shirt, get ready for the apocalypse,
That's right.
then y'all could both take a week off. Your regular job.
Now you're talking about followers across all platforms that we're on, right? So
No,
like
I'm just talking
all
about the little
30 of
handful
them.
we got.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's an obscene percentage of profit, right, Nick? Per shirt? No, I'm just kidding.
100% profit markup.
And the shirt
I
costs you
wish.
$99.99.
Oh, that'd be 100% profit. Yeah, right.
Today we have Red the Bloodhound sleeping in the back.
Hey, Red.
Wake up, Red. Wake up, Red.
Bloodhound dog.
Hi, Papa.
Oh, man.
You hanging in there, buddy?
Dude, I'm exhausted. These 10, 12, 14-hour days are piling up. And I got a phone call last night to make things even better before I went in to do my thing today. Got a work phone call last night at 11:30. Ended up not getting off that phone until about 1:30. Crawling back into bed because they called me about, I don't know, I think I went to bed about 11 last night. So it was probably 30 minutes after I tried to go to bed. But crawled back into bed about 2 o'clock and woke up at 6. Don't know when I fell asleep. Last time I remember checking the clock, it was like 2:45, something like that. But yeah, and then went in and did what I had to do today with all them hours that I had to put in today. And
God bless you.
Tonight, it's Friday Eve. That's all I'm going to say. It's Friday Eve.
Friday Eve.
Tomorrow's Friday.
I
And
sent a letter.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. So, it's cool.
I sent a I will not vote for you letter because of the TikTok possible ban to my
That was an interesting read.
I saw that.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What the hell did you write, Ferris?
I was gonna call them, but I knew that they're gonna give me the runaround. So I just
do you still have it? Can we just can you read it? I want to hear it.
Well, I don't have it on. Well, hang on. Yeah, I can pull it up. Hang on.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
Talk amongst yourself.
When the man says I wrote, I don't know what
now I didn't. Okay,
you decided to write, but you're writing the government, right?
Well, he kind of used what somebody else wrote.
Yeah, I used a template, but I changed it to fit me.
Good,
right? No, so I had to change some.
Work smarter, not harder.
And right? the guy even said, "Feel free to use this because it's a lot easier to get people to contact their representatives and things like this if it's already done for them. They just change their name."
Now, did you start it with Ferris Bueller, and then so on and so forth?
No, I gave my full legal name.
You said,
you gave
I wanted
your
to be
official name.
Yeah.
Oh, watch out now.
Sure,
Ferris means business.
Before you share screen that, Ferris, you might want to block that part out.
You could just read it.
Unless
you don't.
I was just wanting him to read it. I don't need to see.
Yeah, I can just read it. Why is it? What is it?
So remember I told you about the radio station where I texted the guy the answer to a thing trying to get tickets, and they claimed that the other guy was faster than me within milliseconds.
Huh.
Well, today Linda heard another question on that thing. It was just a silly question of the day or something. And they're asking, what is something you do in bed when you hit like your 40s that you don't do when you're in like your 20s?
Sleep.
And there's always these people like
You'll sleep when you
It's
did.
true.
they're like sleep commando or sleep with your dog. All these
I
answers.
wish I could.
Linda answered it. She just put fart.
Outstanding.
It was
Did she
funny.
win anything?
No.
She should have.
No.
What do you do when you're in bed in your 40s that you didn't do in your 20s? Get up 86 times a night to pee.
What,
When
do we
you
just have
get
a Linda
up,
question of the
it
week?
takes a minute to stand straight.
Right?
We just had
Get
a Linda
up and
question of the week.
apply biofreeze in the middle of the night.
Right. Ferris, you are correct. That is a question of the week. That's very true.
What?
Ferris said that we just technically had a Linda question of the week. I'm
Oh
excited.
yeah.
It's the first
Oh,
one in like
dear.
6 years. It's about time.
Good job,
Wow.
Lynn.
You
That was
remember when
next.
she used to do videos?
Oh, that was cool.
Good old days. Season 2.
Man,
Like
what
all the
happened to
time.
this show? We gone downhill,
Y'all got old. She got cool.
Season-
Y'all got old.
Season 2 was, I don't mean this in a negative way about any other season,
No,
but
no, you can't say that and us not believe it's negative.
No,
Take
I'm going to take
offense to
offense
it.
to whatever comes next.
I don't mean this the
was just
wrong
gonna
way.
say, I think season 2 was the most fun season.
I'm not saying you're fat or anything.
Well, that's just wow.
that's
Never
how it
say those
starts.
words to
I
anybody.
resemble
Ferris.
that remark, Ferris.
No, okay, no.
You resemble it.
Everybody just defang.
I think I
Damn
think season
vampires.
2 was fun because it was the first full season. The
was
four
the
of us.
first
Yeah.
season with all of
All
us.
of
That's
us.
why.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
now we're
we
just
were
used to each other.
experimenting, and we were just kind of doing whatever the hell we wanted to do. I mean,
Yep.
we still do to an
Yeah,
extent.
basically it was
but-
it was like the hippies. It was like our free love season.
Y'all had
yeah,
a pilot.
yeah. Season
y'all had
2
a
was
pilot.
like the 60s.
Y'all got your 4-hour pilot episode. We got our however many 40 something episode pilot season as a
Right.
group.
the pilot season.
So
We
we
had to-
win.
we
That's
had
a whole
to-
lot more hours to watch.
We had to find the mojo because
Still looking.
before it was just me and Nick,
Yeah.
right? And then
And you guys
then
liked it so much
became
better that
me
way.
and Nick and Mary and Ferris, and it's like, okay, what are we doing with 4 people for a whole year? Oh, wait,
Yeah. Then you brought in
year
the
and a
dumb
half
Southerner.
later, we finally figured it out.
You brought in
I
the
resemble that
you
remark
brought in
too,
the
Ferris.
dumb short Southerner and the helicopter mom whose prop fell off. That's a compliment, Mary. Anyway, moving on. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I actually got the bulk of this letter, a template, if you will, with his blessing from a guy on TikTok who goes by the name of John Griffith,
Okay,
GRIFFITH 881. Okay,
John
and he
Griffith,
goes on and he
881.
yeah, and in order to get this, it wasn't written anywhere. I just did like voice to text on the phone. I was like, send that shit. And I just corrected it and all that. Yeah, super lazy. Work smarter, not harder. So
If you ain't
I
cheating,
live-
you ain't trying.
I live in the 4th Congressional District of Louisiana. Okay. And my representative is Congressman Mike Johnson. Shout out to you, Mike. I did vote for you in the last election. So here it is.
But
I'm a voter.
apparently not this one.
No. I'm not saying I won't. But there's conditions. I am a voter in your district and registered as a member of your party. I have been following the controversy over the Restrict Act Bill S686. This bill looks like a Patriot Act on steroids. In addition, I've heard rumblings that Congress would love to ban TikTok in the U.S. as it would force the sale of the app to a more palatable owner. I understand Congress is concerned, but it's your own fault that you didn't have any privacy laws already on the books that could have prevented TikTok from becoming what it is. As it stands, the grilling of Chow, I don't know how to say his name, but he's cool, in front of Congress looked like a feeble attempt from Mark Zuckerberg and his lobbyists to force a ban on an app so that Mr. Zuckerberg and Meta could stop losing billions of dollars in ad revenue to the highly successful ByteDance company and their TikTok app. Today, more than ever, the American people need a free press, and TikTok has allowed the free press to live on. I think that's what Congress is afraid of. You no longer have control of the media with TikTok in the equation. If I'm wrong, please tell me how. It was a talking point in Congress recently that 1 in 3 Americans get their news from TikTok. I'm one. Why does that concern you? Answer: control. You had it and you're losing it. The game is changing, so vulnerable politicians are trying to change the rules, but TikTok has allowed for more transparency than we've had for more than 50 years. We are finally holding you accountable because we can finally see you. The free press is alive and well on TikTok. If you ban it, all it shows us is that you are scared of finally being held accountable. To add to that, Shuzi's that dude, the CEO, has already addressed. Yes, I copied and pasted that name. Has already addressed your concerns
Outstanding.
of privacy with Project Texas. TikTok is moving all data collected from American citizens at the sum of 1.5 billion to date to servers based on U.S. soil. So I would love answers to a few questions. One, if all active data is stored on U.S. soil, what then are Congress's bipartisan security concerns? And two, with all other social media sites also conducting data harvesting now for years, why hasn't Congress been concerned to this degree before?
Both valid questions.
As for the Restrict Act, wow, the way the bill was written, you would think that the U.S. government thinks they own the internet. It is shameful. I've never seen a bill quite like it. I actually did read that bill. It is clearly a bill designed to take away American voices, and it clearly aims to violate Americans' right to free speech. I, for one, would love to hear your thoughts on violating Americans' constitutional rights. If this is allowed to go through as it currently reads, I can promise you I will vote against you. Don't bother pandering to me. How are you going to protect our constitutional rights? In closing, I do not support the banning of any social media platform that allows Americans to practice their First Amendment rights. I do not support the Restrict Act Bill S686 as it is, or any bill that will violate any part of the United States Constitution. Kind regards, and my name. So most of that I got from somebody else, but there's a lot of it that I kind of tailored to me, added a little bit, how I felt, whatever, but most of it came from Mr. Griffith. So
very nice. I like it. And I don't know what the TikTok CEO dude's actual name is, but when you just look at it on paper, it looks like Xiao Zi Chu.
Yeah, it made me pronounce that
kind of what it looks like to me, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm probably butchering it, and sorry, not sorry, because I don't know, but that's how it reads to me when I look at it on paper.
And I'm gonna tell you, and this is all else I'm gonna say about TikTok. Everybody kind of knows. If you're on TikTok, you know. If you're not on TikTok, you've heard it. And if you're not on TikTok, you're probably thinking, I don't care. I don't use it anyway. I don't want my stuff getting out there to another country. So ban it. I don't care. But if you're on it in any degree, 150 million and growing. That was a number 2 weeks ago. I think now they're at like 172.
Whoa. Wasn't that 150 million daily users, right? Not just users, not just users, period. 150 daily US users on TikTok.
Users meaning they have an account, not creators, because you've got a lot of people who just sit back and watch.
Oh yeah, I'm just
appealing to those that watch
for a long time.
Oh, I did too. I was like, I'm never doing a video. Now I've got like 40 of them. I don't know what happened.
Right. That's how I was at first too.
There's two parts to this. Here's the thing. There's the creators and the ones that watch. You're all part of a community. If the creators lose their ability to reach out to you, you got nothing to do. You got no news coming in. You got no transparency that we have now. And I've been joking about this for months, how TikTok is better for me as a media outsourced, and people laugh and I joke about it. But after this, I think a lot of people feel that way, because when you get the little bitty video, the little 3-minute, 5-minute video that's got information in it, you're like, okay, it's the internet. Let me go check this out. And you go check it out, and it's factual 85% of the time. That percent is still the same. You're like, whoa, forget Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Sky News, forget you. In fact, British
if they
news
were smart, they would utilize the shit out of the platform, but they're not.
They do.
Did you hear about
a lot of politicians do?
No. I'm not talking politicians.
He's talking mainstream.
I'm saying
media.
mainstream media, CNN.
Oh,
Fox,
they do too.
NBC,
They do too.
CBS. I know that they have accounts, right? but their main platforms are still TV, and I know there's a bunch out there on AM radio
Yep.
still, right? But it's one of those things where if folks would get with the times and they would actually utilize it,
Right. And Nick, hold on one
it'd be a
second.
fair game. But right now, it's not a fair game for the mainstream media anymore because of
Nope.
everything you just outlined in that letter, which is why it's scary,
And
because
they
it
threw down their juice
cannot be
pouch and is walking
controlled.
home. They got mad and walking home. That's what they're doing. They went and got
Mm-hmm.
mama, and Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
one last point, and this is probably the most important thing that I actually overlooked until today. I've watched a few videos. It's not about TikTok banning. It's about the Restrict Act, because what that will do is actually give power to the sitting
Yep.
president through the trading commission secretary or something like that. I don't know, through some subcategory group that the president
Mm-hmm.
appoints,
Mm-hmm.
total power to deem whether an internet ran site is a risk, a security risk to our nation. Okay, a national security risk. That's not cool. That's anything on the internet. Anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's apps. That's websites. That's any feed on your camera they can have access to your
Mm-hmm.
phone, your computer,
Mm-hmm.
your Siri, your what's the I don't know what they're called, the little things you have in your house.
Alexas and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they access to all of that. And if they feel like it is a national security, they'll shut it down. They'll ban
Yep.
it.
Well, they want
Yep.
control of that. They want control of the financial system. They want control over every damn thing.
They have control of the financial system as long as we keep
Well,
using
let me
the
just
dollar.
point this out real quick, because you hit the nail right on the head when you made mention of free speech in your letter there. Let me just remind everybody that wrapped up in the whole free speech portion is also the right to freely express ourselves and all that other kinds of good jazz through whatever platform we deem fit, right? Now, think about this. Not only is this going to affect TikTok if it passes, it's going to affect all other aspects of not just social media, all aspects of how we socialize, period, because this will be the very first step ever legally that affects legally our way of freely speaking our minds and expressing ourselves. If they can get away with it through this, nothing's going to stop anybody from saying, oh, you can no longer say X, Y, and Z. That's punishable by A, B, and 3.
If you noticed, here's the thing. Like I said, TikTok banning is smoke screen to what's really going on with that. Other things that we're being told through mainstream media is more smoke screens that's keeping us looking abroad. Look what's going on in France. Have y'all seen that? Okay, that's real. Look what's going on. Saudi Arabia just cut ties with the dollar. They're no longer using the dollar.
What's that new currency that everybody's trying to go to?
BRICS Bank or whatever.
That's what it is. Yeah.
They're with BRICS now. So the reason that's substantial, I didn't know this till today. Okay, I had research thrown at me. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to look into this. And I'm going to be very layman's about it. But basically, since Nixon took us off the gold standard and put us on an oil standard, our dollars are backed by oil, which is why this nation has always gone into what we consider a lesser country, and quote unquote defended them. We would get oil as payment to further the value of our dollar. We just lost Saudi Arabia, which is the #1 oil producer in the world, from using the American dollar. That means hyperinflation will happen within a year or two in this country.
Oh, yeah.
That's bread lines. That's out of work. That's all. Look, I'm not trying to fearmonger. It's simple economics. Okay. These things we're not seeing because our mainstream media, the ones that are pretty much upset with TikTok because TikTok's taken over with reality news, okay, is pissed off. They threw their juice pouch down and they're mad.
Well, and the other thing too, you gotta keep this in mind as well. If everyone else is going over to this BRICS format or whatever the hell it's called, that means that what we got, that ain't worth shit to anybody else.
Nope.
So when all that inflation and everything happens, because, well, I mean, let's face it, we're already dealing with pretty high increase in inflation in the last just few years anyhow, right? But
$7
when
for a
shit
canister
really
of
hits,
creamer.
right? But when shit really hits the fan, right? Ultimately, who's going to suffer? Us.
Mm-hmm.
Us. It is what it is.
I saved a video
It's
about the economic curve, like the income curve,
Mhm.
how they kind of, it's really neat. I'll send it to y'all tomorrow or whatever, but we'll probably never talk about it. But I just want y'all to see it. It's interesting how our society wanted us to be on a tier system of class based on income because it works that way. That's basically how our
Sounds like Hunger Games.
it does sound that, but when you look at the graph, it's not really as bad as you think. Basically, what it's saying is everybody, it's like redistribution of wealth, and everybody's kind of on the same bar. Like this class of these jobs right here, it lists like 100 jobs, and it paid like the pay rate per year, the annual income, and it kind of shows a slight curve from over the poverty line. Like nobody's in poverty, right? Nobody is below the poverty line in this scenario. This is what the ideal scenario is. You've got all these middle class, you've got lower class and middle class, and you've got the upper class and the upper, like the wealthiest. And it's a slow curve. What the reality is that now it's those that were middle class are now under the poverty line all the way up to like majority of the jobs, like 85%, 90% of the jobs, and you have this 3% of all the wealthy. So 3% of the country has the money now, today. It wasn't like that 4 years ago, pre-COVID. It was close, but nowhere near, you know what I'm saying? Not like that. It wasn't the ideal situation like I described before. It's really interesting video and walkthrough. But that right there is basically what inflation is. And then there's only gonna be less than 1% that has all the money in this country. It's those that have the tangible goods like gold, the metals and all that have that. Okay. I'll tell you right now, I ain't got none of that. I got a couple of silver items, but it's nothing. It's like probably 50% silver and the rest of it's something else, nickel or whatever. So it's not like I've got a plan, and most Americans don't.
Nope.
And right now you can't. I don't know what it is. What, 1,300 an ounce or something? I don't know what silver is. It was a few years ago. I don't know what it is now, but
I have no idea.
dude, that's a paycheck for me. Okay, after taxes. Well, it's a little more than that, but anyway, that's I can't afford that. I gotta. Anyway, I'll keep going if y'all don't shut me up.
Me neither. I can't afford shit.
Sorry, Nick, you were gonna say something.
I don't remember. That was a while
I know,
ago.
my bad. I'm sorry. Passionate about this.
Nick's like, I opened my mouth to say something like 45 minutes ago. I can't remember what it was now.
If I change the subject to the other thing that we were talking about earlier, Nick, you might remember what you were thinking about earlier. So you want me to do that?
What's that?
There's a I don't know if it's a bill, I guess, in Arkansas that's proposed by I don't know her first name, but Huckabee. She's been in the news a lot. She's pretty outspoken conservative. They say could be a front runner for Trump's running mate if he gets out of this indictment and everything and all that, whatever, and ends up running. But she is backing a bill or supporting it or whatever to change the child labor laws that are on the books now. I don't know what the age minimum they're going to change. Right now it's 16 with a permit, right? And a lot of people upset because that's basically putting children in harm's way and then putting more money in the pockets of
what, like she wants to lower the age?
She wants to lower the age. I'm not sure what her stance is on
Okay,
that. I'm
now
not sure why they want to.
before we get too heavily involved in this, and before any listeners out there going, well, hang on a minute, and everybody starts getting up in arms about it, let me just throw this out there. I had my first job when I was 14 years old.
Yep. And you're a
14.
good, hardworking American.
Oh,
I mean,
And
and I didn't drop out of school or anything like that for it. 14 years old, still going to school. My parents set the parameters. They're like, okay, yeah, you can work if you want to, but you're only going to do, 3 hours a day or whatever after school. I mean, shit, for them, it was like
school
free
comes first.
daycare,
Yeah.
you know?
Your grades start to suffer. You're going to quit. Yeah.
Yep,
That kind of
yep,
stuff.
yep.
Yeah.
All of that, dude. And I mean, I've been working since I was 14 years old.
Still a round robin here. Mary, when did you first start working?
Mary ain't here.
She's not here.
She was feeling like she had to lay down before she passed out.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Nick, when did you start working? Physical labor.
Oh, my God.
I mean, writing down stuff is physical too, but I mean, you know what I mean.
Oh,
Mary hit up in the chat. She said 13.
13. Okay, Nick,
I don't remember.
that long ago? What were you, 5?
Probably, with all the shit that he knows how to do.
Exactly. So chances are you was
Oh,
probably
actually, Ferris, you bring up a good idea, or not a good idea, a good point. I was doing manual labor with my
was it?
parents, building shit at the house on the property I grew up on, building decks and retaining walls and all that kinds of shit when I was 5, 6 years old.
Can we bring our junior producer on? Is that okay?
My son has been building shit with me since he was 3.
Because this has to do directly with him. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Who?
Yeah. Owen.
Owen's got the
Uh-oh.
mic.
Owen.
Oh.
Say something, Owen.
Yo,
Owen.
Hey, man.
what's going on?
So I don't know how much you heard, but this actually has
What's
to do with your
going on?
demographic.
All I heard was
Hi.
job and how they started working.
Well, maybe if you
Yeah, he's not.
You wanna
He sounds
get in here and start
48,
talking to
but
folks
he's not.
about getting jobs?
How old are you, Owen?
Just turned 15.
Just turned
He
15.
just turned 15.
And what is your what is your current like want right now? What's the biggest want right now as a 15-year-old?
A
Oh,
job.
A job. And how long have you
I
wanted
knew
a
it.
job?
I didn't say nothing. I said,
woman.
Oh,
how'd you know?
Watch yourself, Nick.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
he is a minor.
Yeah, it would probably be a job, yeah.
Okay, so how would you feel if Alabama passed a law to where you could work at the age you are, or even when you were 14? If a year
can.
ago,
I
Do
was
what?
working. I was working last year.
you were working, you were making money doing what?
I did volunteer work around the neighborhood, and then I worked at Nuke's. It's a little pizzeria sandwich shop for a little bit.
And how many hours they work
Nice.
you a day?
Don't know, 5,
2, 3, 5. Okay,
Yeah.
so you weren't like full time in it. You were
Yeah, they
part-time.
gotta keep it under a certain number of
Yeah, but
day and a
at
number per week.
14, he probably shouldn't be working there anyway.
Probably not, but
Right?
I mean,
Legally.
like I
My-
said, I was working at 14. I don't see a problem with it.
I started working at like 12, 13, 14. Actually, it was younger than that. I helped my dad throw a paper route out of his vehicle.
Boom.
I folded, I wrapped, I bagged. He threw it out the car because he knew what houses took him and what didn't. Right.
Well, if we're
And
talking about when I first started, I probably started, in quote, working around when I was 11 or something, because I had
there you go.
I had
Physical
a
labor,
volunteer had a volunteer little thing around the neighborhood.
But you didn't get a job with Walmart. You didn't work for
No.
Boeing. You didn't work for AT&T, these big corporations or
no.
whatever. You didn't do that. You did something that was local, small,
Right.
on the radar,
Yeah.
little bitty chump change, whatever. To me, that law, if the right parameters are put in, like for example, and me and Mary and Nick talked about this earlier. If you don't work for a corporation, you work for a philanthropist type small business. I
Mom
don't
and
see a
pop.
problem in it. Yeah, I don't see a problem in it because at 12, 11, 13, 14, 15, you're learning work ethic and how to possibly start your own business one day.
Yep.
Right.
And that's good for the country. It's not about and there were some chat comments. One of them was, if they allow that, then the kids are going to take jobs away from the adults.
No, they're not.
What?
No.
They're not. What kind of idiotic people are saying this?
Oh, it was crazy, man. It was. I saved the video.
Which
I know-
adults?
just
The ones that
stupid.
don't want to work anyways?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what to do. I just can't compete with these 12 and 13-year-olds taking my job. Doing
the
what?
kicker
Washing a
is-
freaking car on the weekend?
The kicker, though, is there's several other states that are proposing these bills. And I don't know where it came from. It just kind of came out of the blue. Like, okay, well, we're going to lower the working age. Is that to better the economy? Is that to provide more job? Because look, there is a shortage in labor right now. People don't
Yeah.
want to work
Well,
because
that's why
for
there's so
2
many that
years-
don't want to work.
right. You got
Well,
a 14, you
here's
got a
the thing.
15-year-old sitting right here. I'll work.
Mhm.
Let me work.
What you
Here's the
gotta say,
thing.
Owen?
With most companies, yeah, they're hiring, but they don't want to hire a 15-year-old.
Why not?
He's a liability.
Exactly, because they think that we're immature and we don't know what we're doing, stuff like that.
Well,
Well,
you're a
are.
legal liability based on federal law.
But you know what? You know how many people are in their 40s and they're still that immature?
Exactly.
A lot of people.
And there are
Your
people in
age
there.
doesn't really tell you your
There are people
maturity.
in all generations that are still working that don't work. They don't do their
Right.
job.
Let
They
me
don't.
just real quick. I just got to throw this out there. And please, I dare anybody, anybody, go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. Because if you can actually say the words, "Nah, Brandon's wrong," you're lying. Okay. I don't care how old a man gets. The shit that we think about at 14, 15, 16, guess what? That's the same shit we're thinking about at 36, 37, 38, 53, 62. It doesn't matter. We just had a young man say that one of the things in the forefront of his brain right now is getting a job. Let the man work. Let him gain some experience. Let him gain some skills. Should we put parameters around how much he's able to do? Absolutely. There's parameters around how much we are quote unquote able to do if we're just an employee and we're not owning our own business. Because everybody knows when you own your own business, you go to work for yourself and you put in as many hours as it freaking takes, right? However, as an employee, they've got labor laws and this and that and the other and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so make them a little bit more stringent for those young folks because they're in the developmental state or the developmental phase, rather, if you will. Whereas people like myself, Ferris, Nick, people that have been working for 20, 30 plus years, we're not developing anymore. We've gotten the skill sets that we're using and we know how to put them to work and put them into play. Ain't nothing scary about a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid wanting to come learn a freaking skill. Teach him and give him the means to provide himself the kind of fucking life that you have. Stop
Well,
being a pussy about it.
This problem is
Sorry,
they've gotten to
I got
where
hot.
the problem
I
is they've
apologize.
gotten to where they want experienced people, but the problem is if you don't get to work, you can't get the experience. You can't
Exactly.
have
So let's let these
everybody,
kids
every
get
single
some.
business out there saying, "Oh, only experienced people." Ain't gonna work. You can't say people that went to school for it, they still don't have experience. They learn out of books, but they don't have experience in it.
Oh, and that's the thing that pisses me off, by the way. Just throwing this out there. Anybody who says you have to get yourself a college education is full of crap. Okay. First things first, there's hundreds of trades out there that you can get into, and the world is in need of tradesmen, carpenters, plumbers, plasterers, welders, mechanics, you name it. Nick, basically, Nick 5.0, right? That man knows how to do absolutely anything and everything on the face of the planet. Guess what? He will always be able to provide and put food on the table for his family because he has a skill set that's unmatched. Okay. Me, I'm a specialist. I have one category that I'm super fucking good at, right? Shit hits the fan, I'm kind of screwed. Luckily, I have
And it's
some
not
other
carpentry.
skills.
Go look at his backyard.
Thanks, Ferris. Luckily, I
Let-
have some skills that I can fall back on, but like I said, I specialize in one specific area.
Can we take a quick break? Come back.
No,
Come on.
I was just about
Yeah,
to just
yeah.
lay into people. Fine, I already
You can
did.
lay into people right when we come back. I can hit go and you can just start yelling at people.
Stop.
We'll be back after this short commercial.
Okay, that go.
Hey, yo, welcome.
What's going on, y'all?
I'm Nick,
And I'm Brandon.
and we have just kicked off season 4 of our podcast, Coast to Coast.
That's right. And this season, we'd like to invite those of you that are on Smule, the online karaoke app, to join us for a little fun, some good old wholesome banter, and a whole lot of music and conversation.
Throughout the season, as a Smule guest, you will also be entered to win recognition in several podcast and Smule-related categories.
Hell yeah. Some of these categories are going to be most viewed episode, funniest guest, and best vocal cover overall, just to name a few.
That's right. All you got to do is click the link below, fill out the form, hit submit, and someone will reach out to schedule a date that's best for you.
And we can't wait to have you on the show. So come on now, click that link below, fill out the form, hit submit, and let's get vocal. Dude, this is going to be fun.
Welcome back.
Yay.
You just missed Brandon lying out his rear end. Go ahead.
I didn't lie about nothing.
It was
What are you
shitty.
talking about? So we realized that we've got Owen here, and I don't know, 14 seasons ago, it was a long time. He ended up, we were doing food challenges, and we were supposed to do a bacon wrapped banana for Owen. And I just happened to have some bacon in the fridge. I thought that I had bananas at the house because we had a whole grip of them like 2 days ago, but apparently they've all been eaten. So, Owen, I apologize. We don't have any bananas. So what I did is I grabbed some of the banana runts that we've got, and I don't know
Not gonna
I
be
feel like
the
this
how
same.
it's going to be, but I got some bacon. Don't mind the yellowish tint that my cameras get. My camera's wonky.
Is
The
that-
bacon is not actually yellow.
Is
That's a
it
Walking-
vegan bacon or something?
that's a
It's
Walking
actually
Dead
bacon.
bacon.
It's not tofu. But I'm gonna, Owen, just for you, because we never actually got around to doing it. Here's 2 runts. And some bacon.
And a chipped tooth.
Mm.
That's probably good though.
That's the
actually.
closest thing I can get to it. I'm sorry.
And well,
I
you're
need
not
more
saying
banana
you.
flavor.
You're not seeing
We'll
that
get
the
some more
problem.
runts in here.
He just
We'll get some more bacon.
Looks like he's
now we know
alone.
how many bananas Brandon can fit in his mouth at one time.
That's the first thing he tried that he didn't go, oh my God, that's gross. He
Mm.
actually just ate it.
Mm-mm.
You struggling?
Mm-mm. I'm afraid to swallow this. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Not with runts anyway.
So I have a question, Owen. Is there a way that
That was
we
a bad
can,
idea.
Is there a way that we can
Throw some Coke and Pepsi in there.
I found a recipe for fried bacon banana, but you dip the bacon in like pancake batter and then put the bacon around the pancake batter. Would that suffice? Or is that cheating? Does that make it more of
Anything that involves an actual banana and some bacon will work.
a- Okay.
Well, damn it. I was hoping I'd get away with just doing that because that was
Oh no.
That wasn't an
Pleasant thing.
instant disgust. That was a prolonged grotesque. Okay.
It's slowly mixed and juiced and
Yeah, at first it was like, okay, this is tolerable. But then everything became mush. And the consistency was that of like a watered down slime. That was gross.
but apparently not as gross as the Oreo and sour cream, because that you couldn't hang.
That was atrocious. And also, oh God, ugh. The
Cheetos
Cheetos
and milk.
cereal. I
You
will say
better-
this. I will say this. The banana runts and bacon 100 times better than both of those other ones.
You better be glad you didn't find a banana, because Nick was going to auction off you deep throating that sucker.
Paris,
I'm just saying what he said. Don't get on me. You walked away, and he's like,
I
"Better
did
deep
walk
throat,
away.
deep throat."
Okay, fine. All right. On that note, oh, and it's time for bed, buddy.
That's the second time he's heard it. It's not the first.
Ma'am.
Back
No,
what we were
that's-
talking about. Oh, and I have a question for
Now I
you.
got all these bits and they're just stuck, and don't
When
do
you-
runts and bacon.
When you hear as a 15-year-old, and you'll hear it at 16 and probably 17, you're in high school, right? And when you hear your high school or school board or whatever put a regulation out there for you that you can only work so many hours in the night, does that deter you from wanting to get a job, or are you cool with that? Let's say you can't work past 9 o'clock. And to add to that, is it an issue for you to balance education and employment?
And to your second question, no, because like I multitask really well.
Good. At 15,
Yeah, 15, yeah. And then for your first question, my school board, if he decided to do something like that, I would honestly just say don't really care and work as many hours as I can.
do you think there is as a 15-year-old, do you think there's a reasonable amount of hours
I mean, yeah, like I
to
don't
help
expect a
with
15-year-old
education?
I don't expect the 15-year-old to work 12 hours a day.
Right.
I mean, but I expect them to work at least a good 8 hours, 7 hours, 6 hours.
So you don't
Well,
think
Well,
that would
there's
affect
a
your
big
schoolwork?
difference between 8 hours and 6 hours after you've already put in a full day at school.
That's true.
Well, here's the thing. They used to let kids out early of school, like get their 4 core classes, math, English, social studies, science, and then after they're done with those 4 classes, they'll go work.
Right.
But they do not.
Well,
do that
if you
anymore.
get out at, let's say, 2:50, 3 o'clock, regular school day, and you have to go to work at 4, and you're working
Right.
where you're working, and they work you until close, which would be like 10. So that's 6 hours.
Right.
I mean, typically that's not a lot of time to get your studies done if you work 5 days a week, or if you work 3-day weekdays and then working all weekend, longer hours because you have the 2 days off. So how much have you thought about balancing that? Because that's probably a main concern with this bill. One of the main concerns. The main concern is safety. I get that, labor and all that, but that's a byproduct concern of working. I've got kids; they've dealt with that. The oldest are dealing with that because they're working. My youngest actually is 17, and she's looking for a job, and she's thinking about that too. I'm doing good in school. Is this going to mess it up? Getting a job. So how much have you thought about that, and does that come into play with your decision, or you just want to, I gotta work no matter what, I'll deal with school as it happens?
Well, that's how I feel. Just work when I can, and then when I have to go to school, go to school. And I believe I'm ahead of schedule because when I had to get my permit, I had to go to the school and I had to get paperwork for the permit saying that I enrolled in school. As I was doing that, I got work permits, so I'm allowed to work. And they're all filled out and everything.
Okay. I see you.
Brandon, as a dad, Nick as a dad, how do y'all feel about that?
I think it's outstanding because I draw upon my own personal experience from when I was younger. I was the 16-year-old kid that I went to school all day and then I worked all night. I got myself one of them fast food gigs. I used to work at Jack in the Box, and it was awesome because every day I got the equivalent of like $6 worth of food, which way back then was way more food than it is now. You go to Jack in the Box with $6, you're walking out of there with half a celery stick if you're lucky. Anyway,
They have celery there.
no, I don't know. But
Every time you mention that you worked at Jack in the Box, it just makes me think of one thing.
The bathroom story.
I don't want to talk about that. Thank you for bringing up memories that I've tried to repress. Anyway, I would get out of school 3:30. I would be at work by 4, and I wouldn't get off of work until we closed. And more often than not, Monday through Friday, I was working until midnight. But at 16, I had my driver's license and I had my own vehicle and all that other kinds of good jazz too. So for me, what I did is I went to school during the day, went to work at night, and on my lunch break, I would get all my homework done. Because at that time, the lobby was closed and everything for normal standard patrons. The only thing that was open was the drive-through. And I would just go out in the lobby and I'd eat my free food and I'd do my homework.
I think there's still some kids like Owen that would work, but there's so many now that don't want to do jack.
Well, what's that saying that's been going around? And I think I've said it on the show before, right?
Yep, that was it.
Soft men create hard times. Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Right? And right now we're in soft men times from soft times having been had. So now is
Soft men are making hard times right now.
exactly. And that's exactly what's going on. So it's our job to answer your question a little bit further, Ferris, how I feel as a father about it. It's my job to make sure that my son does not come out to be a soft man. He needs to be a hard man to get himself through the hard times that he is going to face when he's my age, maybe even a little bit younger. Luckily for me, I wasn't raised soft.
What about your daughter? How does that
Same thing
change?
with my daughter. No, it doesn't change for my daughter either. Because when I'm done with my daughter, she's going to be a very independent young woman that's going to be fully capable of taking care of herself, and she'll be able to whoop the ass of any man that comes along and wants to try something anyway. 33 years of not 33 years.
So she's going to be
33 years?
Ronda
No.
Rousey part 2.
23. Wow. Okay, I'm not as old as I. Anyways, multiple decades worth of martial arts. Okay, she's gonna learn how to kick some ass.
So Mary in the chat, she makes a comment about working 2 jobs in high school, maintaining 3.9 average, which is excellent. I'm pretty sure, Owen, from what I've heard, you're perfectly capable of doing the same thing. So you're probably a I don't know, safe to say nationally a lower percentage of kids your age that can achieve that, unfortunately. And that's where my concern as a parent comes from, which, like I said, she'll graduate next year. So, and she hasn't started a job yet, but she's got the brains in school to get it done, but she doesn't have quite the mentality to juggle. Does that make sense? And not everybody does.
Well,
And that's the hardest part about it.
Ferris, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a question, and it applies to Nick, and even Mary. And I think I know what everybody's answer is going to be. When it comes to raising your kids, are you more concerned with ensuring that they're not going to offend someone else by utilizing the wrong pronoun that person prefers to be referred to as? Or have you been raising your kids to the point where when they're done and they're out of the house, you know damn well for sure they're going to be able to take care of themselves?
I feel like context will be lost if I don't explain exactly how I raised my kids. But to answer your question straight, no, they believe what I believe, and it's not because I force them. I tell them what I believe, and they agree with me on that matter. It doesn't make any sense to automatically know what somebody wants to be called. They may tell you, and then it sounds ridiculous.
We can't read
Okay.
minds.
No, and the society that we're in is full of assumption. You're forced to assume, but that's not good either. It's an oxymoron to say, well, you're supposed to know what I want to be called, but then
Yep.
don't profile me. What? That
Yep.
doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. You can't have it both ways.
While at the
So-
same time, technically speaking, they're profiling you because you're the moron that doesn't
Exactly.
understand what they're thinking.
So that I mean, it's kind of off subject, but yeah, I mean, you're talking about in general, are you teaching your kids to have common sense, in which I love my kid, but she doesn't have a lot of common sense. We have between me and Nancy, we have a couple like that, and they're amazing kids. They're both intellectual, okay, very intellectual, but when it comes to life, they probably struggle a little bit, but you learn the best from mistakes. If you succeed all the time, you're not learning much. You're probably more lucky than you are doing it properly, right? You know what I'm saying? You may achieve something just real quick and good that you don't know about, you're maybe ignorant about. That's luck that you'd happen to get there without knowing. But when you have to make a mistake and learn it that way, you tend not to do that again. And it's a hard lesson, but it's better for you as a person. That's why I can't,
Absolutely.
raising kids and trying to protect them from the world, impossible. And you're actually making them soft, like you said. You're not giving them a fair chance to really take that pain and grow from it, whatever it is, whatever
You're
that mistake is.
sabotaging your child.
Yeah. So with Owen, with you forcing yourself to be outgoing and say, I'm going to do schoolwork, I'm going to do the chores at home, I'm going to, work this job 3, 4, 5 hours a night, maybe 3, 4 days a week, or whatever, make a couple $100 because I got things I want to pay for, and I want to take some pressure off my parents. I'm tired of asking them, hey, I need this, I need that, I got things I want to buy. That's commendable. That's being motivated, and this country has lost that.
Yep.
And when a person proposes a bill to allow kids, actually you're allowing the parents to decide, if we really want to be honest about it and what it should be. You're allowing the guardians of that kid to decide, okay, I want my kid to go work at McDonald's at 14. I think they're making the grade, they're showing the promise of maturity to handle a job a couple hours a day to make a little bit of money. It should not be the kid's choice. Okay. It really isn't until you're, in most states, 18, some 17. But I think if the parents know their kids well enough and give them that chance to either fly or fall, then that should be the way it is. Government shouldn't regulate. Look, there are, I don't know how many farm families across this nation that's the backbone of our agricultural industry, where there are kids out there working at 4 o'clock in the morning before they even get on a school bus for 2 or 3 hours, milking cows, baling hay, whatever they're doing. That's labor. Nobody's coming down on that.
Nope.
Nobody.
Preach, brother.
Because it's a family thing. It's child labor. It is what it is.
Dude.
The only difference I think is it's not corporate. It's not, they don't see it as a corporate getting more money. Fine. Take that out of the equation. Let them work for mom and pops, family, whatever, make some money.
Well,
ahead.
and let's not forget either that in the United States of America, there is a tax loophole where you can get away with paying your quote unquote
there is.
child up to
Yes, there is.
$12,000 a year, and that money is tax free. Just saying.
Yeah, Nick.
Did I throw my opinion out there real quick? So earlier when you were talking about pronouns and everything like that, I'm 15 years old. I'm growing up in the middle of it, right? I wasn't raised up like that. I was raised you're either a boy or a girl, and I've always thought about that. I still think about it like that. With me being in middle school and stuff like that, and that's happening all around me, people with blue hair, people with pink hair, they think other beliefs of me. And I'm gonna say this honestly, and I've told people this to their face before. I'd say I will respect you as a person, but I will not respect your actions. Me personally, I do not believe, I don't understand the he, she, it, they, them. I don't understand that. It's either you're born a male, you're born a female.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. You got any? I don't know if I should even be asking this question, but I already started. You got anybody that wants to like identify as a cat or a dog at school? Owen?
Oh my goodness. We have this
We don't
one
need names.
kid.
We don't
No,
need
not to
names.
say
We don't
names.
need
Not to say not
descriptions.
to say
I'm just,
names.
yes or no.
It whatever it wants to be called wears a tail every single day and
Okay.
identifies as a cat.
That's weird.
The reason
He
why I
tried to go
asked,
for he
the
tried to go for
reason
the
I
school
ask,
board. Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He tried to go at the school board to have litter boxes for people who identify as animals. That didn't go so well.
That's why I asked, because there was that news story that I think we covered here on the show. This is many moons ago when some schools across the nation were actually putting in litter boxes.
I don't
If
think
they
that's
did
what it is.
that, would the kids actually really use it, and who the hell's cleaning it?
I think they would. I think they would.
I think the kids would, but I don't think they'd clean up after themselves.
No, it'd be the janitor.
Could
Look,
you
here-
imagine walking in some kid?
It ain't gonna be me, damn it.
Here's the thing. As a parent of a I don't even want to. There's a lot of PC phrases I could use, but y'all know our Owen. He's got autism. Okay, he's not traditionally what you would call a normal kid. Okay, he's got autism. He's level 3. He's nonverbal. So there's some concessions and some leniencies we have to provide for him compared to the other kids in the house, right? And when you're out in public and you know that somebody is like that, they've got something going on that they're struggling with, whether it's mental or physical or whatever, and it's obvious. I think this day and age, we as a society have grown so much, and we respect that. We're like, okay, we see you, we understand what you're going through. I'm going to be normal with you, but a little bit more courteous, a little more understanding because you're struggling with this whatever problem. Okay, whether it's a wheelchair, you're a cripple, or whatever. Okay, and I say that because I blame the parents of the generation that's coming up now that's allowed to think this way. Because, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but that is a mental disorder when you believe stuff like that. It's delusional. And I think parents growing up, our generation, and maybe a decade younger, didn't like seeing kids that had issues like that. They deny that their kid has that issue. So they allow them to think this stuff, which is delusional, and they need counseling. They need to get that worked out, whatever it is. I grew up, I was young, at the age of, hell, all the way into like maybe 13, 14. And I played war. I played like we were animals, superpowers, all that stuff. It's called play. It's called pretend. It's
Yep.
okay. But when you allow it to transpose into a normal society, and I know that normal is subjective, but when you put yourself as a kid, where you're allowed to put yourself in that society, and you disrupt others around you, especially in a classroom, because you think you're a cat or a dog, and you're allowed to sit on the floor and lay in a litter box or whatever, that's not productive for society. That's allowing someone that has an issue to nurture that issue, not fix the issue. I know that's not popular. I know people are gonna hate when I say that, but I'm sorry. I blame my generation.
Well, and let's not forget the level of offense that someone that you had just described, Ferris, takes when someone else disagrees with or just straight up doesn't know what that person, quote unquote, chooses to identify as or whatever, which leads me to a question for you. You just brought up your Owen, right? I'm sure there's been times when you've been out and about and there's been people around and they don't know anything. They've never met you before, never met your family before or whatever. Would you ever be offended in any way, shape, or form if someone came up and, you know, I don't know how to put it, but came up and was like, "Hey, what's going on?" or whatever, or would you use that as a teachable moment? "Hey, look, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you asked the question. Let me tell you what's going on and why this is happening, yada yada." I think I know what your answer is going to be.
There's a couple parts to that answer. With Owen being nonverbal, he still makes noises. Y'all have heard it on the phone. Y'all know exactly what he sounds like. And he's like a joyful monkey in the living room, right? It's just it's fine. He's got these stemming noises he makes and all that. We're all used to it. It's amazing how I just tune it out now. Before it was like, whoa, I don't know if I can put up with that. You know, me and Nancy are there. But I've come to understand him, and that's the whole
Yeah.
point. And when people profile a kid at his age, and he looks and acts normal until he opens his mouth and he does some stimming things physically, like jumping around or whatever. So until they're around him long enough, or they ask the question, they're going to assume he's a normal 6-year-old. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest, me and Nancy talked about this a few times just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and she was very passionate about being frustrated with how to handle that. Like you said, take an opportunity to educate, or just flat out say he's autistic. Neither one of us like doing that. We don't like saying, oh, he's autistic. We don't want to give him an excuse. We don't want to have to defend him. We want people to think that just, he's autistic, but he's still a kid. He's still a human being. All kids have different issues at different levels and different spectrums. That's the word they use for trying to figure out how much somebody is autistic or how much somebody is ADHD or whatever, which Asperger's, ADHD, autism, there are so many different things that they're now saying. It being March, which is Autism Month, right? We were supposed to have her on here, but something came up. Anyway, I will get into a little bit that they're thinking that a lot of this stuff is all connected, which makes sense because it's all developmental, right? So the other part of that answer is when we're in public, I still struggle with not necessarily hiding the fact. I try not to mention that just because I guess I want people to see him out as we see him, except I know I'm wrong for that. They do need to be educated. And once the other side of that is Nancy doesn't want, once somebody finds out he's autistic, she doesn't want them to pity him. She doesn't want them to change what they would do to a normal kid of his age. You know what I'm saying? Even though you kind of have to. He doesn't understand like a kid that doesn't have autism does. Simple directions at 6. Don't touch that, right? Don't run down the aisle. Don't run out in traffic, that kind of thing. They understand that. They understand right, wrong, pain, all that. He does not. So in a way, you have to educate, but it's tough.
But it's not something that you take offense to or anything like that, right? Like if I want to be referred to as, they or dog or whatever, right? We've seen all the videos online of the people that just absolutely blow up. Why would you? That's not how you would handle that situation, I think, is what I'm trying to get
The
at,
only
right?
thing that I would take offense to, and I didn't before I had this conversation with her, and I can see where she's coming from now. So let's say we're sitting in a restaurant and he does okay in a restaurant, but he's gonna make those noises. He's gonna look weird, to other people's. And it's funny because kids his age, they're interested in it. They think it's awesome. But adults, it's annoying because we've lost that innocence. We're like, we are so serious with our lives. It's moving so rapidly. We ain't got time for a kid 15 feet away in a restaurant screaming and making noises and just acting weird. Right. So they may come up and say, what is wrong with your kid? At that point, you as a parent of someone with that problem or that challenge, rather, have to decide, okay, this person's ignorant, and ignorant's not a bad word. They don't know. I'm about to tell them. And if at that point, this doesn't de-escalate, I'm about to whoop some people's ass. Okay. Because once somebody realizes that they're autistic, they usually change their tune.
Yeah.
Okay. But that in itself is difficult because now you're basically, look, he's doing this because he's autistic. I'm sorry. I mean, you wouldn't say, okay, your kid who's normal, not autistic, and he's just acting a fool. Somebody comes up, what's wrong with your kid? He's a dumbass. He's just a dumbass. You wouldn't say that. You're gonna get as a parent, it's like, you mind your own business. I got this. There's so many different ways you can handle it. But I think we've decided to just educate, just swallow our pride, swallow our concern, and just say, look, he's got autism. He does this. This is his way of stimming. There's no way around it. If you try to prevent it, it's just going to get worse, or whatever the outcome will be. It's different for different, autistic people. But
yeah,
it's tough. But at the same time, you got to get used to it. You have to with an autistic person. You don't mold them to your way of life. You mold yourself to their way of life, and you'll be a whole lot happier as a unit. That includes classmates, teachers, immediate family, distant family, all that. You have to educate, and say, okay, this is how he is. And my parents have been over here a couple times and watched them as we're out of town or whatever, and my dad and my stepmom are just unique people. Y'all met them, and they're super cool. So it's kind of a bad example, but they adapted so quickly to Owen. It's like, it didn't need to educate. They knew about it, but they didn't know all the little things that he deals with. But they just adjusted. They're kind of like kids that oh, this is really interesting. He can leap over the couch in a single bound. It's just amazing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Nick's just over there stroking his mustache. Just pay no mind to him. He's just,
Just enjoying your conversation.
He's been quiet because we haven't given him time. I've asked you a couple times, Nick.
I have tried to get in, and I can't get the word.
I'm sorry.
I'll take the next week off. I'll be here. I won't say a word. That's not being, I'm not upset. You need to talk more.
Well, Nick, I do have a question for you.
Shears or scissors?
Shears or scissors? Oh my God. So, Nick, are we going to be, we probably have to get permission or whatever from the, comp creators, but are we going to be sharing our, perfectly puzzled song submissions on the show as we go through the comp until we get kicked out?
I don't know. Are you allowed to do that?
I don't know. We'll have to ask.
I can tell you right now.
Hey, Ferris.
No, I can tell you right now. There's no problem you sharing. Don't expect me to say a word about them. You're not going to get any feedback from me.
Well, no. That's not the point. But the conversation we just had ties into the competition.
Sure.
That, the perfectly puzzled comp.
Sure.
And I think it's a good segue. You had made mention that your wife was planning on, maybe coming on the show or whatever. I think it would be a cool kind of combination, right?
Yep.
I think it'd be fun.
I think so.
We'll share them after results days. That way Nick and I can bitch about our critiques as well.
Well, you again there, just as a disclaimer, as a co-creator of this competition, and I love having integrity. Even after the result of that round that particular submission was a part of, I probably won't respond much. Because there's going to be situations throughout the comp where I might disagree with a certain number that a judge gave y'all, or anybody for that matter, maybe a little off from what I would think. That's normal. You know that, Brandon, in comps. You would think that, okay, well, I think it was super creative, or it wasn't, or whatever. And I don't want to muddy that up. I trust the judges that are in that.
Yeah.
And let them
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, just because you're a co-creator of that and you're here with us to, hey, Ferris, give me your real, true, honest opinion, bro. No, that's not it at all. Like, the way I figure it is we could utilize this, and the conversation that we just had was absolutely amazing. So anybody out there that listened to it and stuck around for it, I'm sure they have a little bit different viewpoint than they did at the beginning, and I think that's an important thing that we could continue with throughout the duration of the perfectly puzzled comp.
Well, we do plan on having Miss Raven Blaze, another co-creator, along with my wife, who's a co-creator, and they're the backbone of it. I'm just there to double check and make sure they do the judging style correctly. because it's got my name all over it, right? But yeah, we hope to have them on at least in the near future to kind of give us either an update mid comp or at the end of it all. So we'll know more about the comp side of it through them, and I'll let them kind of explain as much as they want to or whatever. But absolutely, if y'all want to talk about it, I don't see a reason why we can't do it on here. It's y'all's creative work. You own it.
Sweet. Nick, have you gone through the because they did something in this comp, Nick, that I personally have never seen before. They released all of the week's info, all the round info at the very, very beginning. I've never seen that done before. Have you gone through and read each week yet? I've only read week 1, so I don't know what to expect yet, because
that was my idea.
I feel almost I can't bring myself to read the other rounds yet because I feel dirty, if that makes sense. Every comp I've ever been in, it's like okay,
somebody leaked it on accident.
Yeah, dude. Like you get the round info, you've got 4 to 6 days or whatever,
personally.
and then you get the results, and then you get the next round info. That's what I'm used to. So I just can't bring myself to look yet. I
couldn't look fast enough.
Really?
Nick, this came up with our comment. You may have something to say about this, but remember a while back I said a long time ago, this was actually before season 2, and I had presented to them, and it wasn't the right timing for it because Amy has to work things out, and that's fine. She's very meticulous. That's why this comp is so good. It's so well done between her and Nancy and the judges and the coaches and all that. They just do a really good job. By the way, Mary, you are missed. I'm just passing that on from certain somebody, but that besides the point. They worked really hard at that, but it's getting it organized. So I lost my train of thought. Mary interrupted me, and she didn't even say a word. That's amazing. Good Lord. I was saying, we're talking about the release of all the rounds. So what that does, and this is my thought back then, was allow a contestant to game plan, strategize, and use the right songs when they need to. In the past, all other comps, you might, like what happened with you. If I'd known that, I'd have used this song instead of that song, and it allows you to line up your songs so they can be the best they're going to be from week 1. You can already be practicing them. You can open up anytime you want to. You can start singing them. You can have people join you on it, play around with it. And by the final week, if you're still around, you have perfected that final song submission. And it's going to be super hard to judge because most of them are going to be fantastic. Not all of them, if you got that far. But that's what it's all about. And they learn from themselves. They can strategize the songs they'll use. Does that transpose in other comps? No, because you don't know what you're going to do. Normally, they're just going to keep it secret. But you will be able to think about songs better. Well, I'm going to hold back on this song because I might have a round that's rock, or I might have a round that's a mashup or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the thinking behind it. So they did it this year, and I didn't know they were going to do it, but I'm glad they did.
I like it.
I'm looking at the stuff right now for the first time, and I just feel like I'm cheating. I just can't get it out of my head.
You want to run through the rounds just a quick description of each one so people kind of know what we're talking about?
Okay, fine.
As it compares to autism, since it is an autism comp. By the way, while he's thinking about reading it,
well, the thing is I don't know, I don't want to call it an explanation, but are you talking about reading the beginning or just your challenge portion?
Just the challenge part, what it is. Like this week is you have to use a song with an animal in it.
Right? Yeah, sing a song that has the name of any type of animal in it. So, they did verify that you could use unicorn or dragon, but dog, cat, horse, goat, pig, whatever. And it's not that animal's name. Like my dog's name is Lola. I'm not going to sing Lola. She wasn't, no, but,
and that's because that autism, people with autism connect with animals. That's why they did that. It has to do with autism traits and things like that. So
round 2 is about socializing and making friends, and the challenge is to sing a friendly, happy song that makes people smile. There's no It says choose a song that you would sing to someone that fits your personality in a positive way. Nothing's going to be verified, so it's basically open to interpretation. It sounds like we could do whatever song we want. Unfortunately, I don't like happy music. I like sad music myself because it makes me happy.
See, that's a perfect opportunity to do a parody.
Maybe, I don't know. Oh man, I lost it. Hang on, I exited out too fast. I'm sorry. Let me get back to it.
A happy song.
Round info. Here we go.
Don't worry, be happy.
Right.
Do, 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 do.
Doot and doot
Don't
and doo
worry
doo
now.
doo.
Be happy.
Doot and doot and doo doo doo. Doot and doot and doo.
I like to play
The
Round
landlord
three.
says your rent is late.
Round 3 is going to be about distractions. And the challenge is, again, there's no wrong song choice here. It says sing a song that gets stuck in your head all day. Nick, you better do Baby Shark. So I'm looking forward to that one because I got a million songs that get stuck in my head all the time. Now, round 4, it says is unique, right? There's a uniqueness to round 4, and our challenge is to sing a song from a list that's in a link here, and it's based on clicking on that link. It's based on what looks like one-hit wonders. I'll just read 2 or 3 of the song titles: 99 Red Balloons, Fight Song, Me and Mrs. Jones, Leader of the Pack, so on and so forth. And whoever put this together did a fantastic job of it because they put it in alphabetical order for us, which is very nice. That's exciting. So that's round 4. There's 2 more. Round 5, talking about difficulty with change. Okay.
We all have that.
Oh, dude, big time. And our challenge when we get to round 5, notice I said when, Nick, not if, when, is sing a song from a genre you don't normally sing.
I just pictured y'all running through a field of poppies singing Baby Shark. We made it.
I hate
Baby
you. The song that we choose for this one, it will need to be verified. So with that comes, I'm sure YouTube links and all kinds of good jazz and whatnot. There's a lot of genres
What the heck are you
I don't
verifying? I don't
normally
get it.
sing. There's a lot of genres I don't normally sing. I don't know, dude. It just said in there, it said your song will be verified.
So there are some aspects each round that is unknown. So you still restrict it a little bit, even though you know each round you could be thinking about certain songs that fall in those categories. But what I found also interesting this time around, like I said, I'm like Brandon here with this comp. I'm out of the loop with most of the stuff, but I had to read the quips just like y'all did. I'm still reading them actually. It's a lot. But I found interesting was excuse me, the group aspect with the bonus. And the reason they did that, wasn't really sure the way they did it was a little confusing, but with the sheet, the form you filled out and all that, what that did was allow competitors to get in smaller groups that are like-minded musically in genres, and then you can kind of work out and get to know each other. Because autism is, like we just talking about, autism is getting to know that person and how they see life. You can't really change them in big swing ways to your way of life. You have to change to them. So getting to know somebody is key with somebody with autism. Both, back and forth. That's the reason why. I think that's what I feel they did that. And
the
I've talked to people.
groups.
Yeah.
My group is nothing like me.
But that's an opportunity.
That's the point.
That's an opportunity. In your case,
that's the point, because Brandon's group, they're exactly.
Well, it's hit or miss, and they're based on genre preference.
The problem is, here's my one little issue with that whole thing, is the genre thing is completely inaccurate because I had to put numbers on ones I wouldn't have. So it's not accurate. You can't, several of those I would have said no, but I wasn't
Absolutely
allowed
not.
to.
Never in a million years.
So
I'm with you on that one.
they lined me up inaccurately. They're going by false. I don't know how to say it right. If you're lining somebody up and you're saying, well, based on, you like pop at a 5, so you no, I don't. I don't like it at all. I had to put 5. I didn't really have a choice.
Because you liked it better than
the shittier one, yeah.
the next one.
So
I understand the format that they did and why they did it that way, right? But I am with you. There was a number of categories where I was like, no, I'll never in a million years. You could tell me that the prerequisite for this round is to sing a song of this genre, and I'm out.
Well, remember,
Like,
remember,
goodbye.
remember the whole you were exposed to autism traits and struggles before you even knew before you're even in the comp, right? When you filled that
Right.
form out,
Mm.
you're dealt with a lot of ambiguity, I guess is the word, ambiguity,
Mhm.
and challenges just filling that thing out. Imagine what somebody with autism feels like.
right.
Right.
And again, that's not necessary by design. That's the way I enter. When Nick said, I don't understand it, this is confusing, I went in back in and looked at it. Okay, he's right. I mean, it's 1 through 10 or whatever. You got okay, and finally figured it out. So, all right. Then later I thought about that's exactly how my son feels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may ended up filling out the wrong thing, and now you're stuck with genres that they thought you preferred when really you don't. So it's an opportunity to try to navigate through that and just learn from yourself and learn what your capabilities are in things you wouldn't normally do. But
See,
the
now
biggest,
you put it that way. I can't argue with that.
I'm just saying, if I'm putting myself in an autistic frame of mind, all right, everything you go through this comp is going to be similar to what they go through. Not just the information you get, it's going to emulate what they go through. Being in a group setting, social setting, it's awkward for them.
So going by what my numbers had to be, because I had to put them in different columns. There's several songs, there's several bands or whatever that you get to choose from. I can't remember how there's like 6, I think. There's only 2 in my group that I would sing from. The other 4 are like, no. And of course, half of the people, it's 4 girls and 2 boys, and they're like, let's do this. And of course, they're all picking the one that I wouldn't touch.
Well, you literally, to be honest, you literally only have to say your name in the song and be on the lineup that you joined to get the point. You don't necessarily have to sing it.
Silent.
So when they start singing, I'll just jump on and go, I'm Nick. And I'm
Exactly. I mean, technically you don't.
silent join, bro.
I said that. I told them again. I said, I'll be the silent layer. And they all
I said
me-
the same. I said the same thing in
Give
our
me an
little group
artist,
chat,
give me-
and I've got Casey in there, and she jumps in lickety split. Don't you dare, Brandon! You did
until you get somebody like Casey that's going to make you sing. But
Oh,
Nick,
yeah.
what is the worst one? Was it artists and bands? I guess they gave you a list of. I'm not familiar with what they gave you, but what is the one that you consider
it was,
like
genres of music?
or they gave names of artists, didn't they? That you had to choose from? Yeah.
Yeah.
The list you have now in that group, what is the worst one that you just wouldn't want to do?
I can't remember them all. I don't know if I should say
Katy
on
Perry. Didn't you say Katy
Well,
Perry?
you don't
was
have
in
to
there, dude? Or
you don't have
Pink
to
or
mention
something?
it. You don't have to mention it, but look at it this way. I can't stand rap. And I gotta be more specific. Hardcore rap. I just don't like it. I think it's negative. Okay. I like political rap. I like country rap. I do like rap. It's just I don't like the hardcore stuff. And that's not race thing. It's just because there's some white guys that do hardcore that I don't like. I'm not a big Eminem fan, not at all, really. So my point is, it doesn't matter what the artist is or the group that they assigned you. The one that you really have a hard time seeing yourself singing, that's the one that you can conquer and be a part of. Say, all right, I did it. Still don't like it. Done. It's like tasting food. You don't knock it till you try it. Okay, I tried it. Don't ask me to do that again. And they won't. Typically,
Don't do
people
banana
won't.
runts and bacon, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read this last this last round. This is the final round, Nick. We're gonna make it, buddy. We're making it to the finals.
Yeah.
Okay. This one has to deal with developmental delay. And this one, it's the last song of the entire shindig. Our challenge: create a layered song arrangement that starts out simple and builds up in layers and creativity. So reading this, I automatically go back to the line chat just the other week when Nick, you were talking about your rock comp, and they're like minimum 4 layers. I'm not a layers guy, and I see that and I'm like, oh, there's Nick right there.
Oh,
Anywho's.
God.
Oh, well, I don't know about y'all, but for one, I'm excited to be competing again for the first time in like 2 years. This is going to be interesting. I don't know how I'm going to fit it into my schedule, but I'll make something work. Damn it.
Didn't round 1 start? Was it today or tomorrow?
Right,
I thought it
tomorrow.
was the
Well,
31st, so that's
it is.
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
31st.
Yeah.
Okay, it's tomorrow.
So
Which means you can start your song. Is that what I mean? I don't know why I'm asking this. I should know.
we're
No,
not
because
able
it's
to
not
open
just-
the song until tomorrow.
Not just
Right.
tomorrow, but a certain time of the day tomorrow. It's like later in the day or
I
something.
think it's noon or something, isn't it?
Yeah, something like
Noon.
that.
Yeah.
So, one thing that I also always dislike in Smule comps, I'll be damned if every single Smule comp doesn't base it on Eastern time. Oh, your song must be submitted by this date at 11:59 Eastern. I'm like, that's fucking 8:59 my time. How come y'all get 3 extra fucking hours? That shit pisses
See,
me
I
off.
would have. That's the other
I
thing. I would've-
always know like that. It's either that or like on TV, they'll either say Eastern or they'll say Central and Eastern. They never
Mhm.
say
No one ever says Pacific.
no.
Well, I would. The one thing I would have changed about the beginning of this comp, and it's a super minor thing, but we're talking about knowing the rounds ahead of time. I would have released that tomorrow, so you'd have literally no time to do the first round. You'd have to figure out what you want to do pretty quickly, and that would
Ooh,
help. That would help to weed out
yeah.
some of the. You know what I'm saying?
Like
and
I said,
again-
I'm gonna do all red. I don't care how many people are gonna submit, and I still think that it would be absolutely epic if we got all 100 contestants, or however many there are of us, to all just do the same damn song. I just want to piss off all the judges.
Oh my god, having to hear it over and over.
Oh,
and
dude,
over.
it'd be amazing. Mine's gonna be a version ain't nobody ever heard before, though. I don't know if it's gonna be any good. I don't know if it's gonna be super crazy bad, but I guarantee you ain't nobody heard this version that I got in mind. Just throwing that out there. On that note, it's getting really late, even for me. So, I gotta go because I'm
Yeah.
supposed to watch the baby monitor, and I'm pretty sure my wife's upset that I've been out here without it for the last almost 2 hours. She watched it all night last night, and Megan woke up a bunch. So
if she
Oh,
I'm
packed
sure
up
she's
the
looking
kids and
forward to
left, you gonna
sleeping.
come back?
Was that?
If she packed up the kids and left, you gonna come back?
I should probably go check. Huh? Shit.
Good luck, buddy.
With that, like, subscribe, comment, be good people. Go to the Shopify, please.
Buy from the Shopify.
It's
That's how you be good people around here. You buy
That's
our
right.
shit.
Be good people.
Love
Rock
y'all.
on. Later.